I'm excited for this topic with you because Darren DeVries used to be your head coach. You're a West Virginia college basketball fan, and Darren DeVries now at Indiana. Shout out Doctor, who's been begging us to talk about Indiana hoops for about 3 months. Darren DeVries went on John Rothstein's podcast yesterday, did a long interview. Everybody go listen to it. It was a fantastic interview. Showed you a little bit of look behind the scenes at Darren's approach and his personality, which as a just a neutral college basketball fan, don't feel that we've seen all that much personality from Darren in his introductory press conference or the ads he's had since. So this was kind of nice to feel like I'm getting to know Indiana's new head coach, Coach DeVries, a little bit. But the biggest takeaway I had from this, he went in depth, I think for the first time publicly, about the timing of his departure from West Virginia. And, he was a big time get for your program last year. A lot of excitement. He built something that I think showed a lot of momentum. West Virginia had some big wins early in the season. The Tucker DeVries injury certainly got in the way of where that season might go. I'll let you speak on your parentheses, your quotes in just a moment. But at full strength, they had a very competitive team, and it was exciting to see what he was building. It's never really good. Like, I think it's kind of a college basketball no-no in the college basketball world to leave a job 1 year after you take it. That's very rare when it happens. It's just not something that many coaches are willing to do for some of what that becomes reputation-wise and how people view you around the industry. Darren DeVries didn't speak to those concerns, but he spoke to the fact that, hey, I did not want to leave West Virginia. I was not planning on leaving West Virginia. I firmly believed we were headed on a very competitive, successful path. I loved that staff. I loved that place. I loved my roster. But this was a dream job. And when you get a dream job offer at Indiana, you simply can't pass it up, even if the timing isn't right. How does that resonate with you as a West Virginia fan, Dion?
Um, I want to say this. It's Darren DeVries, right?
You don't even know how to pronounce your head coach's name?
So I just referred to him as coach because that was my coach.
It is Darren DeVries.
Okay, so Darren DeVries because he's not coach anymore. Yeah, he's just Darren. So Darren, um, I personally think X's and O's wise, that is one of the best coaches in college basketball. I think Indiana got a great encore coach. In my opinion, just the adjustments he made going into conference play, I think there's very few coaches in the country that could do that. We talk a lot about college basketball coaches not making adjustments. You never have to worry about that with Darren. He makes in-game adjustments. He makes in-season adjustments. Our best player played like 3 games. And it took a while to figure out what to do after that, but he figured it out, and we should have made the tournament. I do want to call Card out. He said if West Virginia made the tournament, we wouldn't win a game. We don't know that. We might have went on a run. Teams have done it in the past, but I think he's a phenomenal basketball coach. I find it really hard to believe he didn't know this Indiana job was going to open up. Mike Woodson said it in January. Like was it, he announced like his like mutual retirement or whatever it was in January. Like Darren knew this job was going to be available 4 or 5 months before he took it. I do believe Tucker was hurt when he got hurt. I question if there was a reason he didn't come back. And that is his decision. Players do that all the time. No hard feelings. There just are hard feelings. But I think I think he's a phenomenal coach. I do believe it's his dream job. For Indiana fans, I hope that's true. I don't know where the connection to make it his dream job would be, but I don't know much about his. He was only with us for a year, so I don't know too much about his history. Maybe he has a ton of connections to the program, but if it is his dream job, I'm a big proponent of chasing your dreams. I just think it's crazy to say like, oh, I had no idea I would be offered this. When Mike Woodson announced in January he was leaving. Um, I will say this though, Darren doesn't get enough credit. Hey, he's a bucket. I don't know if you've ever seen him hoop. Like Darren might get tucked 20 tomorrow. Darren can hoop. He's a basketball guy through and through. I think Indiana got a great coach, but I do think he's missing the plot in terms of why West Virginia fans and alumni are upset. And I think best PR move would be just to stop talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of said all this in his intro presser. He just is like giving more detail in the Rothstein interview. But if you remember his intro press conference, he flat out said, like, hey, I didn't want to leave West Virginia. Like I didn't. This was not my plan. But the opportunity for me to coach one of the biggest brands in college basketball as a Midwest guy in the Midwest, it's something I can't pass up. He calls it a dream job in the Rothstein interview. There is no specific Indiana tie to make it a dream job, as far as I know. He's just a Midwest kid, and Indiana is one of the biggest brands. I have no issue with him calling it a dream job. I really have no issue with any of this, with him leaving West Virginia, unless what you're saying is true, right? What's the speculation there that they shut Tucker down because they had privately agreed to an Indiana deal?
I just think there's too much like funny stuff with Tucker, where it's like we never got to find out what was really going on. And then all of a sudden it was just like, yeah, he's not playing anymore. And all of a sudden he has an extra year of eligibility. And then they take the trainer and the medical team with them to Indiana. Like there's two those that's the only portion of the staff you took with you, by the way. Like that it's just a little funny. It's a little weird. I do believe Tucker was hurt when he got hurt. I just think he could have played probably in February. And I think if Tucker plays, we probably make the tournament. But with that in mind, I will say, with that in mind, if Tuck's goal is to make the NBA, shutting down, going to Indiana, getting a full season at Indiana is his best opportunity over like a 1 month stretch of health at West Virginia. It pains me to say that. It is his best opportunity to play in the NBA. With with that being said, if you don't make the NBA, Tuck, just know I'll be there on draft night.
This video is brought to you by NBA2KLab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. And they're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh,
Ooh,
okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's, that's New
New
York.
York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado is.
It's in Colorado. There's a state of
Is that
Colorado.
this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
Anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college football 26. Back to the video. I mean, look, even if that's what they did, I don't have a major issue with it, as crazy as it sounds, because I mean, to disrespect your program or anything here, but like if Tucker got hurt even marginally and he's looking at this like, should I miss a month, come back, grind into maybe a bubble season in my final year? Or, hey, dad's getting some phone calls. I would make the same decision. I would advise my friends to make the same decision if that is what happened. The thing that doesn't add up for me, I just don't buy that like there was a silent agreement in November with Darren DeVries. If Indiana had come open the last cycle, I don't think Darren DeVries would have been the hire when he got hired at West Virginia. And respectfully to him, it was way too early into the season to know what Darren DeVries was going to do at West Virginia to like have him be the hire. I don't believe he was the first call for Indiana either. Maybe Indiana fans want to dispute that, but like there were serious Dusty May discussions. They were still doing the whole Indiana thing where they wanted Brad Stevens and Billy Donovan until February last year. So it's hard for me to buy that like the DeVries family knew it was Indiana all along. They might have known there was going to be the opportunity to jump, and that's the end goal. But I don't know. If I'm Darren, I think I would stop talking about the timing of this publicly, though.
Yeah, I think they knew in February. So I don't think they knew in November or
Okay.
December. That's why I don't buy into the rumor Tucker was never hurt. I think Tucker was legitimately hurt. I just think by the time he was ramping up to come back, they knew. And at that point, he made a decision that I too would have made. I just know I'll be there. Like if this doesn't work, I'll be there. And by the way, Darren, let's set up the home and home. Let's set up the home and home. Like come to Morgantown. Let's see what happens. Because I'm a Ross guy. Shout out coach. I'm now a Ross guy. I think we'll figure it out. But I do think all parties involved made the right decision. But now we get to see if it's going to work on the court. And if it doesn't, oh brother, we will absolutely be there. We will be there. And I think that my only hesitation with Darren, I think the Indiana job's a little too big. I think he's more like if he jumped for Texas Tech in Iowa State, I think that obviously those jobs didn't open, but that type of program that I do believe is a program above West Virginia, but also like that tier below, like the Blue Bloods, I think that's perfect for him. I think Indiana might be a little too big.
Yeah, we'll see, right? I'm willing to wait and see. I don't want to say anything definitive on Darren because I just don't know yet. I think he's obviously a good coach. He's obviously a great X's and O's guy, as you mentioned. It won't surprise me if Indiana's really good.
Yeah.
But truly, I do think one thing I'll give Indiana fans credit for being right about, I do think this is a top five job in the sport.
Yes.
And I think saying Indiana is a top five job in the sport out loud, paired with Darren DeVries is a top blank coach in the sport, is where I get a little lost. He's nowhere near a top five coach in the sport right now. Now, maybe he'll get there. Maybe the resources that Indiana has and this program will get there and you'll have time. A big part of the Indiana job, as has gone on record with a lot of coaches and media people, is that you have to deal with a lot of off-court shit you don't really want to deal with, and you better win the fan base, win the media. That fan base, that media is quick to turn on anyone who doesn't have success. Darren DeVries being the quietest guy that Indiana has hired since I've been alive is fascinating to me because I could see it going both ways. Maybe a coach that's just kind of quietly in his own business is the best thing for this fan base. Maybe if they start losing, it's the worst thing. I don't know how they're going to react to a dude as quietly reserved, introverted as Darren DeVries being their head coach. Bottom line comes down to he's got to win games. He might win a bunch of them. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and see. But yeah, I don't know. Even this interview, it's like there wasn't a lot to glean from this interview personality wise, other than like, yeah, I didn't want to leave West Virginia, but I had to because it's a dream job, you know?
I think he's gonna relish the media portion of it. West Virginia doesn't give you the opportunity to kind of shine on that. But any coach that leaves the way he left, they don't fear nothing, right? Like the way he left West Virginia, like it's the way Lane Kiffin left Tennessee. Middle of the night, let me get on this PJ. I'm up out of here. Y'all be blessed. I never really unpacked. Like you can't fear anything in that case. His biggest issue, in my opinion, and just look at the way this Indiana roster is this year. I'm not saying Indiana's bad, but that's not a top five team in college basketball, right? Like if you're, I think it's a top five job in college basketball. I think they got a top 5 to 10 X's and O's coach in college basketball, but the way he builds rosters takes time. I don't know if he's going to have that much time at Indiana. And if you look at what happened with West Virginia, Tuck goes down. I think we were 1-8 to start the year. And it took him a second to be like, okay, here's what I have to do game plan wise to get us into like being a bubble team. Respectfully, you don't get to go 1-8 at Indiana. And I also don't know how much better this Indiana team is than the West Virginia team of last year.
Ooh, they're not gonna want to hear that. Lamar Wilkerson's a different type talent. Tucker being there is still, but you had Javon Small.
I was gonna say it hard to convince me Lamar Wilkerson's that much better than Javon Small, if he even is better. And the biggest difference is Tucker's actually gonna play basketball for Indiana. So in
Yeah.
that in that sense of the word, the roster is better. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of like if Tuck played for us, I don't think this team's better than the West Virginia last year.
I mean, are we sure? Are we sure he's gonna make it through a full season?
I mean,
I don't mean injury wise. I mean, like, are we sure that Kansas isn't gonna call Darren DeVries in February and Tucker's gonna try and redshirt again?
I mean that would be hilarious. That
Yeah,
would be
right?
hilarious.
It's like the serial like breaks up with his girlfriend, cheats on her, and gets a new one, right? Are we sure Darren DeVries is Indiana's his dream job? Kid in the Midwest, yeah, sure. Kansas is in the Midwest too, right?
Truly, it bothered me more to see Tuck on that PJ and an Indiana sweater than it did Darren going to Indy.
Why do you hold it against the kid? This is clearly Darren's fault that Tuck had to do all this.
Nope. Nope.
I can't wait to see how this plays out. Go listen to the Rothstein interview. It was a really good interview of Darren DeVries, a man who intrigues me in a multitude of ways.